Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. First of all, I would like to make an apology. It was not my intention to do 3 Blackstone Fortress videos on the bounce. Furthermore, it was not my intention to do 3 videos which are basically me talking over still images. However, Games Workshop have recently announced the new No Respite expansion for Blackstone Fortress, and they have gradually released more information about that expansion over the week, and this has kind of given me an opportunity to talk about my 3 favourite things. 1, Blackstone Fortress, 2, Nurgle, and 3, complaining about poxwalkers. So, I do apologise for people who aren't interested in Blackstone Fortress. This is not the beginning of a trend. I'm certainly not going to become one of those channels that just reads articles that they found on the internet. But yeah, it's been a bit of a weird week. But here we are again talking about the No Respite expansion, and that's because there has been another teaser from Games Workshop which has revealed some more information and a few things that I am happier about. However, before we talk about the stuff that I think is good, stuff that there is to look forward to, because I am aware that I have been bagging on this expansion a little bit. Before we do that, I just want to show you first and foremost this promotional image for No Respite, which was on the Warhammer community page. And is there something about this image that you notice? Look at the bases on the Nurgle units. They are all based for Warhammer 40,000. They have tufts of grass. They are not on Blackstone Fortress bases. This is something that we have seen before when they have introduced characters to Blackstone Fortress via a White Dwarf article. So when the Ogryns and things like that turned up, they were on their Warhammer 40,000 bases. And that's kind of understandable because those were articles in White Dwarf about recycling miniatures from other ranges. But this is supposed to be a Blackstone Fortress expansion, and they couldn't even be bothered to paint up a new set of miniatures and rebase them for Blackstone Fortress in the promotional content. And that just looks lazy. And I have seen people pointing this out to Games Workshop online. It's not a good look because it makes it look rushed. It makes it look like this hasn't been a well thought out expansion. Furthermore, I have been seeing quite a lot of backlash towards this expansion. Obviously, a lot of people complaining about the inclusion of those miniatures, and I'm now seeing complaints that Games Workshop are deleting comments left by users. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's a bad look for any company. Games Workshop have really been doing great work on their social media in the last couple of years. They've been absolutely brilliant and funny and engaging. If they're starting to delete comments when they do something which is being perceived as lazy, that's not a good call. So I hope that's not something we're going to see more of. That feels like a slip backwards towards the old Games Workshop that was very closed-minded and closed its doors and wasn't willing to engage readily with the customers. But that aside, let's look at some things that do look good, because I am still going to pre-order this expansion, and so I'm looking for things that I can be more optimistic about rather than just whinging about the miniatures all the time. First, in the new Warhammer community article, they have explained a little bit more about the mission, and it sounds like we are actually getting a more fleshed out mission this time than we did with Amble and Traitor Command, and that's not just because of all of Nurgle's lovely fleshy appendages that are going to be all over the place. It sounds like we're getting something that's kind of a halfway house between what Escalation offered and what Traitor Command and Amble offered. We are getting a set of missions that involves, there are 3 nodes that need to be destroyed, and each node is the focus for one of the specific plagues that are spreading through the Blackstone Fortress. So you have to destroy the 3 nodes and then take on a final shrine. So that sounds like we're getting at least 4 strongholds for this particular mission. That's more than Amble, Traitor Command, less than Escalation. So that could potentially be a reason why this is falling in that same price band as the Amble and Traitor Command, or it could just be a response to the fact that people did complain the Amble and Traitor Command were a little bit light on content in terms of the missions, although the miniatures were lovely. So feels like Games Workshop really can't quite get that balance right between a good amount of content and cool miniatures that people want to actually buy. Furthermore, like it was revealed the other day, there is a timer mechanism for this particular mission. There are 3 plagues, and each plague has 6 stages. If any of them reach stage 7, then the quest, which is obviously stage 7, 7 being Nurgle's special number, the quest will fail. Hard to say at the moment how much of a time pressure that's going to be, but at least that time pressure exists. With expansions like the Amble, you could take it at your leisure, keep going back to Precipice, building up your characters. There was no sense that you were going to run out of time with those missions. They have revealed some more information about the Chronopox, and it does look like the leak from the other day is correct, and it really is just a case that when you roll your activation dice, you add up the numbers, and if they reach a certain value, then you take a wound, which that's not particularly exciting. But what is more exciting is that they are introducing the concept of Afflictions, which are long-term debuffs. This is exciting. This is a really good idea. This is something that I was hoping to see in a Nurgle type expansion. Basically what happens is every time that the explorers have a combat, after the combat, each explorer rolls a dice, and whoever rolls the lowest draws an affliction card. Games Workshop have teased 2 afflictions. One is Festering Cataracts, which says enemies that are more than 3 hexes from this explorer are not visible to this explorer, which is a brilliant debuff and something that can really change the way that heroes have to play the game. The second affliction they have teased is called Acute Paranoia and says this explorer cannot use Destiny dice. I'm not entirely sure how not being able to use Destiny dice ties in with paranoia, but again, something that is forcing people to think differently about how they're going to take on the challenges of the Blackstone Fortress. I'm hoping there's going to be some other cool ones, maybe even something that might actually give you a buff in some cases, as a Grandfather Nurgle's blessings. They give and they take. It's also interesting to note that the cards that they've teased have cool original artwork, so this is something that I always like to see. Nice new artwork for the cards. Finally, Games Workshop have teased a few of the special rules relating to the new enemies. They have revealed the rules for the Blight Launcher, which one of the Death Guard is holding. It's basically a ranged weapon that ignores cover and does splash damage on every target in the target hex. So that's going to be something to avoid. And they have a special skill called Steady Advance, where they keep advancing towards the explorers and will then shoot at explorers that are further away, even if they're adjacent to someone. Which is something that you can't normally do. Normally you have to take on an adjacent target rather than shooting past them. But Nurgle doesn't care. Finally, we have a little reveal about the Poxwalkers and their ability Lurch, which enables them to take a charge action and then re-roll their failed attack rolls for the action. So something that's going to just advance on you and keep on swinging with their makeshift weapons. And that's it for the reveals. Overall, like I say, it is disappointing to see promotional material that shows that Games Workshop haven't invested as much time into this expansion as I would like to see. But I'm very, very excited about the idea of afflictions and debuffs. As you know, I have looked for ways to make the game a little bit more challenging, and a lot of people have been claiming that the game is too easy. So something that causes a permanent debuff to your character that's a welcome change to the game. It's going to mix things up and hopefully make things a little bit harder. And also, it's good to see that it looks like the mission is going to be a little bit more than we've seen in some of the other expansions. Not quite on the level of escalation, but something that's a little bit meatier, something that's going to take a few gaming sessions to get through. Is it going to be worth that price tag, especially with those miniatures? It's hard to say. I'm probably going to assume not. But regardless, I will be pre-ordering it tomorrow on the 15th of February when it goes up for pre-order, and we'll be showcasing it on the channel when it arrives. Until then, that's me done talking about Blackstone Fortress for a little while. Again, I do apologise that we've had 3 videos in a row like this. There will be some new and different content coming next week. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you for listening. If you have liked the video, please consider pressing the like button. If you have really liked the video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so. And hopefully, I will see you all again very soon. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.